Ask Mixing with Mike. And here's a question for today. It's like, am I too old to start producing music for a career? This is one of the most common questions that I get because I think people sometimes, maybe they've always had a passion for music, and so they feel that, if they don't start when they're, 15 years old or 18 years old or 20 years old or right out of college, that there's no chance of having a career. And the thing about this is that um, it's certainly easier to start off younger, but that's just not the way that life sort of leads us at times. And the real key to being successful at, producing music and making a career of it, if that's the direction you want to take it, is all about your passion for wanting to do it. And then the approach to it might be different. It would definitely be different. So, in other words, if you're 18 years old and you can get a job in a studio and just start working with people right away, it's actually a bit easier because, maybe you're still able to live at home. And so you can work for free and you can kind of live there at the studio and kind of maybe be a part of more things. Whereas if you were, say, in your 40s and you wanted to go about this, your approach would be different. You wouldn't be necessarily, going out and being an intern. You wouldn't last very long, kind of putting up with a lot of the BS that would go on in the studio, because you're more mature. You've had much more life experience than that. So, you certainly don't want to be treated like a slave or like a child or anything like that. So you would be less tolerant of those kind of things that might happen in a studio. But today, the options are much, much greater because you have the ability to build your own studio and approach it from a different place. I've had clients of mine that I've built studios for who never, just did something else completely for a living. And then in their mid 50s decided that they wanted to just record and make music. So they built their own studio and they just started booking it and they started bringing people in and recording people and building up their skills from that end. And then the way that they got their training was privately, so they would learn, right? They would have other engineers come in and do sessions and they would learn from them, right? This one particular guy went to a recording school, so he wanted to learn recording. He went to SAE in New York. That's how I met him. And he built a studio that way. Today, you can also, if you're not just sort of independently wealthy and you're not going to, build some big room with a big giant console or whatever, and all kinds of equipment and microphones, you can also do it on a much smaller scale in terms of mixing. The thing is that the way that you build is just by working with people, starting to work with people, practicing, studying, and mixing, and just doing it over and over and over again. And, there is something to life experience that also lends itself for you to being more efficient with what you do. Less likely to go running off to see the latest movie that comes out, and maybe have a little bit more dedication. It's really up to you and your passion for it. If it's something that you really love to do, it will just seem effortless. In terms of you really love and enjoy doing it. It'll be frustrating at times because that's just like any art is. It will be frustrating, but it'll just come naturally and you'll just kind of do it. And you'll just, there are learning curves and things that you need to go through, but it's really just doing it over and over again, and really seeking out the information and studying and trying and changing things and just, and meeting people, right? Connecting with people. If you really feel excited about it, if it really feeds you, like when you do it, like sometimes I do a mix or a master and it's just like I'm all amped up afterwards from it, because I really enjoy, I really love doing it, even when it's challenging and it's sort of frustrating. And when I solve the problem, it's that much more satisfying, when I figure out like that drum sound, I can't quite get it right. And when I figure it out and I get it right, it's like, it feels really satisfying in a way that, filling out something like an insurance form really, really well wouldn't make me so excited. And it might to somebody else, somebody else maybe, getting like, working stock market might make them really excited. And then when they pull off a big deal that makes lots of money, they're really happy and they really just, wow, really put a lot of effort into this and I got a payback for it. It's different for everybody. So it's not about putting down anything else, but it's all about how much you want to do it. The music industry is funny that way, and that when you have to you have to almost need to do it in order to do it. Like, it has to be such a part of your life that feeds your soul so much that it's just like it's not even a question. You just find yourself down in the studio doing it all the time, because you're really passionate about it and you really love it. And that's really what drives it. So it's not about age. The age thing just changes your approach to doing what you have to do, because maybe you have more responsibilities, you have a family, children, that you have to put through college and stuff like that. So it changes your priorities. But whatever level you want to do it, you may be just happy doing it as like a hobby, just like, I love recording people, and that's totally cool. And it's not about necessarily making a career. Or while you're working, you can just kind of continue to develop those skills and start to slowly kind of bring that in. As it starts to bring in income, then you start to wean yourself off of the other work that you're doing, right? And so, so that's like a big, it's that's a big thing. I like the comment, Brad. It's like when your wife is nagging you and you know you're on it a lot. Yeah, so there's like, you can't pay more attention to your equipment and your computer and your audio than you do your wife. So there's a balance there with the kids too. But I like that. But anyway, that's the question there of the week. That it seemed to have come up a lot lately, so I just thought it was worth addressing and pointing out that in the end, it's all up to you. It's all up to you.